I think I might have to mull over the ending for a bit. That's not to say I disliked this movie. It's just, I feel like I need to think about it. It's got an ending, I guess, that maybe some people might have issues with. I guess I can see why. It was certainly an ending I was not expecting. Okay, so yeah, I didn't even start off with introducing the movie. This review is for the recently released Hulu horror sci-fi film called No One Will Save You. It's been creating some buzz and I heard about it. I can't remember. Maybe I saw it on Hulu, saw people talking about it on YouTube, so I wanted to check it out. And we're approaching October as of the filming of this. It's Saturday the 30th. Tomorrow it's Halloween month. That's the name I've given to October. So I was definitely in the mood to watch this movie. And the premise of the story is she's this outcast in this town and she's basically all alone. Everybody in the town hates her, refuses to have anything to do with her. You don't really know exactly what caused it. I mean, you can sort of piece it together throughout the course of the movie when it shows different things that she's doing, writing in her diary and stuff like that. And then you do get a flashbacky type of scene at the end that fills in all of the gaps. I mean, I had already figured it out, but I didn't know what the situation was specifically around what caused her to become this social pariah in the town. So that's the setup. And one night, strange, scary things start happening at her house. I mean, it's this home invasion. There's shapes moving past her windows, running feet sounds, her doors opening. And so a good portion of the film is taken up with her trying to evade whatever is invading her home and trying to escape it as well. It should come as no surprise that this is an alien movie. Basically, it's aliens. It's aliens. They don't make any secret of the fact in the advertisement for it, and I'm assuming in the trailer. I have not seen the trailer. There was quite a bit to like about this film. There was also some stuff that I wasn't super crazy about, but in general, I enjoyed this movie. I'm contrasting and comparing it with a recent sci-fi film I saw called The Creator. I think overall, as a whole, just story-wise, writing-wise, this one comes across as more solid, even though visually, The Creator had better CGI and special effects. To me, if a story is solid, I can overlook weaknesses with FX and things like that. Some things to point out about this film, if you haven't heard it already, is that there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. And by not a lot of dialogue, I mean, there's really not a lot at all, hardly any. There's not even 10 words spoken in this movie. As a result of that, the actress, oh gosh, what's her name? I blanked out on her name, but I actually do know her name. It's Kaitlyn Dever. I don't think I've seen her in anything before. I have seen her in a trailer that I did a reaction to a few years ago. But if I've seen her in anything, it's just been, she's been a side character that I didn't really notice. But anyway, I just want to say right off the bat that her performance in here was really good. I was impressed with her acting. She doesn't have dialogue in here. Like I said, just those handful of words. And so because of that, she has to do all of her acting with her face and her body. And she does a really good job at that. She's a very character. She just shows her distress and her turmoil, and she's pathetic. She's just pathetic. Some of the stuff it shows, like at the beginning, she's practicing how to wave to people and trying to be, make eye contact. Yet at the same time, she's such an outcast that she does try to avoid eye contact in a lot of ways. She's just a very sympathetic character. I spent a good portion, or pretty much the entire first part of it before events start to happen, just feeling sorry for her. She convincingly pulls off the role of this social pariah that has a lot of self-hate and regret. When you find out why, you completely understand this torment that she's been going through pretty much her entire life. Through these things that they set up with her in the beginning, they make you bond with her character because she's so sympathetic. You care about what happens to her and you want her to be okay. Well, I mean, I did anyway. Something else that I liked about this, there were some sufficiently creepy shots in here. There's like, you see a silhouette of a figure moving past the window when she's all alone. She's vulnerable, just really creepy. Someone's in her house or something's in her house. Also, these creatures, the creature design, the feet were kind of cool and interesting, but also when they would assume these different postures, and it was really creepy. And then they would make these noises, and then sometimes they would just start to run really fast towards her. That was very, very creepy. I was listening to it with earbuds on, and the sound of it creeped me out, like the creature running in the background, running through another room or running towards her. It just gave me the shivers up the spine type of feeling. That feeling of being chased and something behind you, that sort of thing. So I felt like it did a good job with the creep factor. Something else that I appreciated was that this film took a turn that I wasn't expecting. I absolutely could not predict where this was going to end up. And it ended up in a way that, like I said, I'm still kind of thinking about it. Part of me likes it, but then there's another part of me that's pretty conflicted about the whole thing. There's a phrase that's coming to mind, but if I say it, it might start to give little hints as to what might happen to her character in the end, and I don't want to do that. I want you guys, if you choose to watch it, I'd like you to experience it without knowing much at all about how it's going to go for her. So I think those were all of the things that I appreciated about it. Some stuff that I didn't like about it, or things that weren't really my favorite parts of it. I watched Chris Stuckman's review of this before I saw the film. In fact, it was his review that convinced me that I definitely wanted to check it out. But he mentioned that they show a bit too much of the aliens, and I have to agree. The more they show of the aliens, the weaker the CGI looks. I feel like it would have been best if they kept them mostly hidden in the shadows and didn't show their entire body, their entire face, especially up close and for long periods of time. Hold on a minute. I have a fur baby that wants to get back up in my lap. Come on. Now I have to check and make sure the camera's right. So I feel like, okay, well, this is an example. A lot of those early shots, even though you see quite a bit of the aliens, they are in shadow, but then you just see more and more and more of them, and that kind of eliminates the creep factor the more they show of them. I think, like I said, it would have been best to keep them in shadow more, or if you're going to show them, maybe only show just partial images, just small portions of their face or only their hands or whatever. That's what they started off kind of doing. And then they're just like, here you go, we're going to show you everything. And by showing you everything, you'll see that our CGI is lacking in character design. I mean, it wasn't the worst CGI I've ever seen. It was definitely better than, let's say, Brotherhood of the Wolf, but it pales in comparison to the CGI that was in The Creator, which was very well done. Some other stuff, little weird and wonky things that happen at the end that I don't really understand, and I can't mention it without giving away spoilers, so maybe in the comments we can talk about it. Also, some things that happened that didn't make logical sense to me. For example, there would be some moments that these creatures, well, I mean, okay, maybe it's not supposed to make logical sense because they're aliens, but still they're creatures, and it didn't make sense to me that sometimes they would just sit there and stare and then just run really fast and attack. Or they would do something and she's down for a bit and trying to get away, and they're just kind of like not doing anything, or whatever creature's there. It's not immediately attacking her. It's just kind of, I guess maybe it's like they're just studying her. But there were moments where I was thinking to myself, why aren't they just going after her right now? Or are they just sitting there looking at whatever? That was part of the creepiness too, though. The fact that they wouldn't attack or run after her when you thought that they would. So I don't know, maybe it's unfair to call that a con. But then other stuff though, there's a moment where she has moved past one of them or kind of gotten out of their range, and she's in another room, and she turns her back on the door, the open door where it could come in after her. Why? That made no sense. I wouldn't be turning my back on an open door when something is after me. Little tiny things like that, nothing super major. And then there was another thing that happened that I'm thinking, no, that didn't make any sense. At one point, she is thrown through a wall. She's thrown with so much force that she literally goes through a wall, not a door, a wall. The only thing that stops her momentum is a stairway railing, which, due to the momentum that she came through the wall with, she should have knocked the stairway railing over and fallen down to the first floor. And by stairway railing, it wasn't like a wall. I think it was a railing with banisters and, the little the posts and everything. Anyway, like I said, those sorts of things are minor. They didn't add up to the level of things that bothered me about the creator. And I keep bringing up the creator because I just saw it the other day and I gave a less than 100% enthusiastic review about it. So there's some comparisons between these movies for me. But just in general, I enjoyed this film. I think if you're fans of horror, this is horror sci-fi. If you're fans of alien creature feature types of things, you will probably enjoy this. Curious to know what you think about the ending. There is one other thing that I agree with that I wanted to mention. I saw another reviewer say, she suggested that this probably would have been better as a short, and I agree. This is not a very long movie. It's 93 minutes, but there were portions where she's in the midst of hiding and there's running going on and she's in and out and doing these different things in her house when they're in there. It felt like that got a bit repetitive. And so when I was feeling that way, I noticed it. That I was feeling like, okay, we've been here, done all this before. Let's move the plot along. And then when I saw this other reviewer say that she felt it would have been better as a short, I agree. Because I think if they had compacted this down into a short and cut out some of the stuff that to me didn't make sense with regard to the aliens and other stuff that was going on, I think this would be a really effective little horror story contained in less than an hour. I think they could have done this in less than an hour, but not everybody likes shorts. Shorts aren't necessarily my favorite either, because when I watch a movie, I want to get invested for a good amount of time. I've seen shorts be made into full-length movies, and that's been done pretty effectively. The movie Lights Out was very well done. I would be curious to see if they could take a full-length movie and condense it down into a short. Anyway, just a thought that I had going around in my brain. But other than those things I've already mentioned, don't have much more to say. Just wanted to talk about this really quickly. Well, I thought I was going to do it quickly, but I never do it quickly. Hardly ever. It was just something that I saw and I wanted to let you guys know about it if you hadn't heard about it. I imagine if you've got Hulu or if you pay any attention to movie reviews on YouTube, you probably know about it. But these are my thoughts on the movie No One Will Save You, and I have nothing else to add. So I'm gonna call it quits now. All right, you guys. Hasta luego.